Hey guys, it's another sunny day in Guildford, so I thought I'd do another video, and I thought I would do something completely different today because I've been talking a lot about stress and anxiety, so I thought I'd lighten the mood a bit and I'd talk about something else. So today I'm going to talk about happiness, specifically the happiness trap. What do I mean by the happiness trap? So there's this common misconception that goes round, especially on social media, which is that people start to say or start to have the belief of that they will be happy when or if. So, for example, they'll be happy when they get the perfect job, or when they find the perfect partner, or if they have £1 million in the bank. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of those things, and yes, I'm sure that temporarily those things would make you happy. But it's not really lasting and authentic happiness. Just like anyone that sees that through to conclusion. Like, for example, remember when you were young and you wanted something specific for your birthday and you got exactly what you wanted to and you couldn't have been happier. You were like thankful to your parents and you were kind of running around really excited, and then for a couple of days you were really enjoying in it, and then after about, I don't know, a week or so, you took it for granted, or it didn't give you quite the same pleasure, or you started to look for the next thing. And that's why a lot of people start to really chase happiness. And there's one of my mentors, a very intelligent guy called Jamie Smart. He kind of uses a metaphor of the hamster wheel of success or happiness, if you like. And I think it's very much like that. I mean, when we think about what happiness is really, it's a feeling, it's a response that happens in our body. And in a similar way to things like stress or anxiety, it's a chemical thing. So two chemicals that get created when we're happy or feeling that sense of joy is serotonin and dopamine. So why am I telling you that? I think because I think that people don't get that it's not what's going on out here that's actually creating the feeling. And when someone comes to me and says that they want these things in order to make them happy, it does kind of make me, obviously I will help them out and I will help them, I'll coach them into getting the things that they want. But at the same time, I really want them to get that actually it's not about adding things. Like, I can give you a technique that will temporarily create those chemical responses in your body that make you feel a certain way. But if you're talking about lasting and real authentic happiness, that's something that's innate. What do I mean by that? I mean that actually it's present all the time when we aren't overthinking things. Just like your body, its baseline or its natural way of being is to be healthy, your mind and its natural way of being is to be happy. And it's only when we overthink things and compare ourselves to other people and see that they have something that we want, or we have an image or an expectation about what happiness is, and then we say, oh, we haven't got that and therefore we're not happy, or we think we need something that make us happy, that's when it starts to get covered over and we get shaken up, just like that snow globe idea of when you're having all these thoughts and you're shaking it up like that, you can't see what's real and you can't actually, but when you put it down, it all clears and actually you can see things clearly. So what I want you to understand is it's actually that happiness isn't something that you can attain. It's something that comes through naturally when you aren't doing anything or thinking things that you need to think. So don't take my word for it. Like, if I was to ask you, before I do that, let me give you another metaphor because this might help you. Imagine that a dog came to you. This is another metaphor. I think Jamie Smart came up with this one as well. So if a dog came up to you and said, there's this really fast thing that always seems to get away from me, and it doesn't matter how fast I run or how quick or how kind of cunning I am, it's always one step ahead of me. So I need you to help me to become faster and to think quicker and to be cleverer and all these kind of things that it's asking to learn. And now, from me as the coach or you as the person looking in on that, you can see that he's just chasing his tail. And actually, there's nothing he needs to do because it's already a part of him. And happiness is very much like that. And I can tell you that, but you kind of really have to experience it for yourself. So let me ask you a question. When are you your most happy? Really think about that for a sec. And what most people tell me when I ask them that question is that they say, well, it's when I'm with the people that I love, like my family or my partner or my kids, or it's when I'm doing that activity that makes, that I really love to do. And I suppose what I would then ask you is, what do you think the reason for that is? And the answer is, it's because when you're doing those things, you're fully engaged. You don't have anything on your mind. You're in the present moment, really enjoying being with those people. And when you're out here with them, or really engaged, doing that thing that you love, whether that's rock climbing or, playing football or whatever it is, you're fully present, which means that there's nothing getting in the way of that feeling of happiness. It's naturally there and created in your body because you're not thinking anything that's getting in the way. And I think it's really sad that people really think there's something out here that's going to give them that. I know a lot of people that can't be on their own because when they're on their own, they'll start thinking things, and the things that they think make them feel unhappy. Or they always have to have some kind of background noise or some music playing. Or they can't sleep without the TV on. Now really ask yourself, what's the reason for that? The answer is, it's because when there is silence or they're on their own and there isn't anything to distract them, they're thinking things that are making them feel unhappy. So it's not that, it's subtractive psychology is what we would call this. It's not about adding things. It's not about getting things. It's about understanding that stripping away and coming back to the moment, there's nothing you need to get. It's there. It's innate, just like confidence. Now people might come to me and say, I really want to be more confident. And yes, there are techniques that I can give you to help you with that. And you have to, I would say, you have to do things that you feel uncomfortable doing so that you build that confidence muscle. But really, I know under the surface, and what I get to eventually with them is that you will already have moments in your life where you are fully confident. And it will be very similar moments to the ones you were talking about with happiness. When you're with your friends, or when you're with your family, or when you're doing things that you really love doing, and you've got nothing on your mind, you will be confident. And the reason for that is it's because you're not thinking anything that's making you feel unconfident. It's only when you have to go and do something that you feel uncomfortable with and the thoughts start speeding up and you start feeling those stress hormones or anything else, that's when you feel underconfident. It's all within you. So just be aware of that, and also be aware that there's real happiness and there's this comparing yourself to other people. So a red flag to me is always when I see that there's two kind of versions of people. There's the kind of the mask that they show that show the world, if you like, and then there's the real authentic selves. And this can vary in terms of gap. And what I mean by that is, for example, I know quite a few people on social media where they really portray a certain version of themselves. Now, for some people that might be because they're, a musician, or it's because of their business or this or that. And that's kind of fair enough. But there are some people that are just portraying themselves as just themselves for no reason at all, as having this magical, happy, fulfilling life, or marriage or this or that, constantly taking pictures of their kids or their day outing. Now, there's nothing wrong with, documenting the happy moments in your life, like taking pictures of your kids or your newborn baby, any of these kind of stuff. Nothing wrong with any of that. But when that is like that, and then suddenly when the camera turns off and it's a very different reality where, you're constantly fighting with your spouse, or like you haven't spoken to each other for a long time, and yet the camera goes on and then it's like happy families and like everything's amazing. That is a massive red flag. And my advice, take it or leave it, would to be really just have a look at that, because you've got to ask yourself questions like, who am I doing this for? You know, what has happened to me or us in order for it to get to this point? And what is making me keep it going? If it's this idea, and it perpetuates it because obviously everybody's seeing all of these personas online, and then they're looking at themselves and they're thinking, well, I don't have a life like that. I don't have that perfect marriage. But it's all a very kind of fake persona. So as I would say to everybody, you really don't want to compare yourself to other people. If you want to have low self-esteem, absolutely compare yourself to other people. But if you want high self-esteem, just focus on comparing yourself to how far you've come, and just focus on the things that you do have some control over. And happiness isn't something you can learn or I can teach, or it's no technique. It's there, and it's available now if you really get a sense of getting out of your head and into the moment. I guess it comes down to fulfillment. So let me give you this, okay? So Tony Robbins, another very smart man, has a theory on fulfillment and happiness, if you like. He says that we have 6 human needs. So the first one being, we need some certainty in our life. So that being that you have to be certain that when you come home your house will still be there, or on payday the money will arrive in your bank account. And then we also need number 2, which is uncertainty. We need some variety in our life, because if everything's stale and routine all the time, then again it becomes stale and routine. And the third thing is, we need to feel significant in some way, like what we do matters. And then number 4 would be connection. Those human connections are very important. As I said, it creates those hormones. There's an evolutionary reason for that. And then number 5 would be that we need in some way to feel that we are growing as a person. So the last 2 are quite key. These are the ones that are going to, in my opinion, are where real, lasting, natural, authentic happiness come from. So growth in some way. And then the last one, number 6, would be that we need to feel like we're contributing to something bigger than ourselves. Now that doesn't have to be some kind of lofty world peace idea. It could just be being the best possible parent that you could be, and contributing to the lives of your family in some way, or a local charity or something like that. But it's really, what I want to convey is that real, lasting, authentic happiness, and anyone that's experienced this for themselves will tell you that this is true. It's not about what you get, or the role or title that you have, or the product. It's actually about the things that really matter and authentic. It's about who you're being, how you're contributing, and those connections, those authentic connections in your life. So I hope that's been helpful in some way, and I will record another video soon. Have a fantastic weekend.